Be our first staff report, and that will be airports.
Mr. Strickland, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you and good morning. We have a staff report with Jathan that should be able to be called up. There we go. This is just a quick update. There's a lot of things that we hear in the Keys Weekly and Key West Citizen that we see comments on, and this is just a further update for the commissioners and for the community to understand a little bit about what's going on at Key West International Airport. We're taking a look at the passenger experience on arrival and departure today, airline staffing, and then the newly implemented changes that we've done at the airport. If you take a look at that passenger experience, time on aircraft once you land, about 20 minutes. Arrivals and bag claim, about 30 minutes. You'll notice that it's in red. That's one of the items that significantly improves with Concourse A. The rest of the items there are pretty standard through BSO office if you needed it, car rentals and ground transportation and parking. Passenger experience on departure, if you arrive 2 hours arrival time in advance, which a lot of people do not, which does cause challenges at the checkpoint, but you'll notice that at the checkpoint 45 minutes, that is in red because that improves with the addition of Concourse A. And of course, the horrible departures hold room, about 45 minutes is about the average time that you wind up in the hold room when you consider all the elements related to the travel, but that also greatly improves with Concourse A, both the time in the hold room, but also the overall space that's allowed per person in the hold room. Average aircraft turn is usually scheduled for 1 hour or less. There are variables that do affect that with ATC delays, weather, fueling issues, maintenance issues, and ground stops at the hub airports, but all of it does affect that turn time getting off of the gate and out of the way of the next set of aircraft that are coming and landing on the runway. Airline staffing, we talked about the last time at the commission meeting, the onboarding of new employees for the airlines, the background checks, the badging requirements, the training that they have to go to, including the deployment to their main training hubs for them, the employee washout that does occur when they decide that this is too much for me, I don't want to do this. Competitive compensation has gone up significantly. The different work requirements, it's a lot out there on that ramp in the heat, trying to do what they do. And then, of course, the labor shortage related to COVID-19, and we've all seen that in various different articles and on news outlets, that the staffing shortage that is coming out of the pandemic is real. It's something that the whole nation is still struggling with. And it's particularly heavy on the travel industry itself and the hospitality industry, but I think it improves month by month as time is moving on. There's some newly implemented changes at Key West International Airport, largely because of the challenges we were facing. So we now have a customer experience program that is focused on some daily inspections, analyzing flight operations, and evaluating passenger experience. This just allows us to deal with things immediately during the day as those challenges arrive, so that way we hopefully can enhance the passenger experience and make it the best we possible can on a given day. We did align this program with ACI, which is Airports Council International, which is one of the main industry leading groups that we affiliate ourselves with over at the airport. And it allows for us to follow their model that they've put in place, all for the betterment of the passenger experience at Key West International Airport. One of the other things we did was we now have full ramp control at the airport. Previously, when the pilot landed, he was looking to talk to the airline at ground. The airline was a little overwhelmed. They weren't getting back to the pilot. We were winding up with the aircraft in the wrong position on the ramp, and it just caused delay in the overall situation. Now, as soon as that pilot lands, they get immediate communication from the tower and my staff. They get to the right position and where we need them to be at that given time. And we have also changed the alignment at Key West International Airport over the last 4 days to a straight line to allow for not only the construction of Concourse A, but a more efficient overall parking program for the ins and the outs to go along with the ramp control and the Group 3 taxiway. So we're making all the improvements. We hear all the comments that are out there, but I just wanted to ensure the commission of the steps that we're taking as time moves forward. And then Concourse A, obviously, as we move forward, as we took a big step this morning with the commission's approval, this is your solution to all of the problems that we currently have there, and we're all going to get there together. So if you've got any comments, I'm open to them.
Mr. Strickland, I do have 2 questions. First of all, some of the negative feedback that we all hear is safety concerns over overcrowding the holding areas while people are waiting for airline, for the planes to come in. And is the fire marshal comfortable with the number of people in the holding tanks?
So, Mayor, I really appreciate the question. So the fire marshal's office and including the chief himself and I have a very close working relationship. We have met several times, and your facility there has a capacity of about 1,267 passengers inside of the hold room area. And that overall area there, we don't believe we ever exceed that number. We take a look at the number of flights that are going out in a day and those that do and don't. While it gets uncomfortable in there, and we agree that it's tight, we don't believe that we're exceeding that number at any point in time. And the last time I met with the fire marshal's office and the chief was just a couple weeks ago. We had a good discussion about everything. We believe we're doing everything. And once again, as we continue the construction towards Concourse A, that will further give everybody more breathing room and more space for personal space as they travel.
One more question. Are we still using the infrared cleaning device?
So we still do use the R2 Key 2 robot. We do not use it every single day. It was causing some significant strain on overtime and staff related to some other things we're doing. So we're to an every other day program on R2 Key 2.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions for Mr. Strickland?
Yes. Richard, is there any updates on working with the city for the property on Government Road and the offer you had made them and the soccer field?
So I really appreciate that question. We did get the letter jointly signed by the city manager there and by Roman. That letter is going out this week, and we hope to get back some positive news then on that, and we will continue to provide you with updates as to how that's going.
All right, thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions, comments? Do we have anyone signed up to speak on this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone in Zoom?
I see no speakers with their hands raised.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Chathon, can we go to the second one? There we go. So this was an effort with my office and Recondo and Associates to take a look at air passenger impacts on the traffic volumes on US Highway 1. It's an issue that's talked about quite a bit, and so we wanted to take a look-see and see if we could provide any insight into it. And so Recondo and Associates took a bunch of information together so that we could evaluate air service changes at Key West International Airport on vehicle traffic volumes on US 1. The arriving passengers increased obviously over the last several years at a much faster rate than we had previously seen. When you look at the originating passengers more than doubling between 2010 and 2019, and by originating, we mean locals. So the local population in Monroe County is making the decision to travel out of Key West International Airport. That's a good thing because now they're not driving to Miami International Airport on the highway. So that's one positive that came out of the study. While a direct correlation could not be had between the analysis of the data that we had for the vehicles on US 1 and that of those arriving passengers at EYW, we did find that with the intercept surveys that were done, the amount of visitors arriving by car is decreasing as the flying at Key West is going up. But it's an indirect relationship. We could not find a direct relationship in the two sets of data. Commercial and general aviation, including air taxi activity, resulted in fewer visitors and residents driving on US 1 through the Florida Keys. This just demonstrates that the total in-plane passengers, 743,000 vehicles per year each direction, was estimated to be 371. Your average daily vehicles there, 1,000 vehicles, and the GA you can see below that. So it is removing those traffic volumes from US 1, and then the current demand for air travel would equate to, and by current demand, we're talking about now, the scheduled air passengers, 1,018 plus the 65, 1,083 total average daily vehicles in each direction removed from the highway. 2022 and beyond, increased air service at both airports will positively contribute to displacing vehicle traffic from US 1. In calendar year 2019 at Key West alone, 470,000 passengers arriving did not drive on US 1, and EYW accommodates residents and visitors that would increase congestion on US 1 if they were driving to and from Key West instead of flying. Those are good conclusions that came out of the overall study. I'd like to point out that currently at Key West International, 6 days ago, your airport, for the first time ever, went past 1 million passengers, and we're not even at the end of the year yet. So we're probably going to hit about 1.4 million, 1.5 million. That's all good things when you're talking about removing people from the roadway. That's all.
Richard, may we get a copy of that? Would you email
Yes,
that?
absolutely.
All the commissioners, please. And Commissioner Cates, you're leaning in. The floor
Yes,
is yours.
yeah, I'd like to just ask a question and make a comment. I believe that a lot of the people that are coming in to the airport now are, since Uber and the taxi services improved over the years, has real serious issues that a lot of people aren't renting cars now that they're moving around the town with those transportation opportunities. So that being said, that takes a lot of cars off the road. Is there any number do you know of that indicates how many rental cars are being rented, if they're less than in the past, or?
I don't have an answer for you on that. I can get back to you with an answer on that, but I don't have that at this time.
I imagine it may increase because of the amount of people that are coming, but even if it's close to the same, I think it is an improvement, less vehicles on the road. So, yeah, I'd like to have that information. It's not that important, but it'd be interesting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Richard, I do have one question I'd like you to address. We see criticism of decisions that are made to bring in new airlines. Can you go through what control we have over new airlines, new flights coming into the airport?
So it's a very good question, Commissioner. The bottom line is we cannot say no to a commercial airline asking to serve the airport. I try very hard to manage that situation and tell them that we only have certain times available. Those certain times of day, like 6 in the morning, are not real viable options when you look at the dynamics of air service. But strictly, we are not allowed to say no directly.
And who does not allow that?
The federal government does not allow that. It is interstate commerce, and the federal government retains the rights related to interstate commerce.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cates?
Yes, just to touch on that, because people of their concerns, but when we met out there in your office, you don't have hardly any slots to even bring any more airlines into Key West anymore, do you?
That is correct. With the brand new agreement we have that spells out the airline's rights for those airlines that are there and the gate times that they have, we are becoming very gate constrained, which is going to cause a limitation on any new aircraft flights.
Okay, thank you.
And then to clarify, all of the improvements that we are making are on the concourse. Are there any plans to increase the size of the runway?
No, we are not doing a runway extension.
Which means we will not be getting any larger aircraft landing in Key West.
Correct. The size of the aircraft hasn't changed, even back to the Southwest days when you had a 737-700 operating. The wingspan of that aircraft is set by your mods to standard, which are set by the runway to taxiway separation. So no, we will not be getting any larger aircraft. And length of aircraft is really a weight issue. And with the size runway we have, we'd have to extend that runway probably more than 1,000 feet to get the next size aircraft up in the air off the runway. So no, the overall size of aircraft will not be increasing.
And didn't you say at one of our other meetings, though, that the aircraft that are landing now are more fuel efficient and more environmentally friendly?
Yes, so the A220 aircraft, which is brand new and will be coming to Key West soon, and the new series of the E175 are some of the most fuel efficient and quiet aircraft ever produced in aviation.
And is this when Commissioner Cates wants to give a shameless plug for the ad hoc noise committee that you sit on in Key West and the good you were able to accomplish with the money from the airport to help residents?
He can give the plug for it, but he's very involved. But I notice our complaints are going down for the noise, and of course the complaint of the early morning ones flights are still there, but luckily they will not increase. Hopefully, but that's the only problems I think we're having nowadays. But the last projects you've done with the windows and the doors, and now the new, you can touch on the new study that's being done and expanding the area that will be covered too. You can touch on that. I think would be good.
Well, I believe we've already spent so far some $25 million invested into the community through the program that Commissioner Cates sits on that committee for.
Richard, why don't you give a better description of what we do in those residences?
What I'd like to do is bring back.
We didn't cover that, and I doubt that the public fully understands.
Can I bring back a full report for you on that program?
Yeah, but you could also briefly answer the question today.
So briefly, we exchange and tear out all the windows and doors and air conditioning systems in the condos, for example, and replace them with very sound insulated glass windows, doors, new air conditioning systems. And when you go into it, when their workmanship is done, it is top-notch quality. I don't believe the workmanship that they've been doing that we've ever had a complaint when the work is done. The noise level is significantly dropped when you go inside of the facility after the work is completed.
Yes, it is amazing what you can do with that type of modification.
Yes.
But I think a good point to make is that everybody's not just so excited about you going into their homes and tearing the windows out and the doors and them having to move out for a while. So it's very, the way you're doing it, and the contractors have done an incredible job working with the residents. So it's been quite a project, and I look forward to it extending to other areas there close to the airport, which would make a lot of people happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, Richard. Nice report.
I will say the new Embraer 175 is a lot quieter than the 145s. You can see it. That's for sure. You've been doing a hell of a job at the airport, Richard. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.